Well, I mean, AJ's the one who played like 10,000 games. You would think he would have like a zillion things to talk about. Or a zillion different video games to talk about.
No, so I don't play video games. I play fighting games.
Well, you know what I meant. Fighting games.
Right. I mean, I could sit here and talk about all kinds of fighting games, but I mean, who's gonna care?
Where you at? Where you at, nigga?
I mean, I could talk about King of Fighters, but how many people can... Where's Dark Geese?
Oh no.
Oh, first off, okay, so King of Fighters 12 was actually looked at pretty well when it first, like before it actually like got tested and played.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously I haven't been playing it. All I've seen is that it's not in mainstream tournaments for the most part. So
right.
I'm considering that it's not a very good game. So like, since you play it, even though you're probably gonna be a bit biased towards it, what do you see that's a problem with KOF 12?
KOF 12? Okay, I'm going to admit this right now. I'm going to try to be as unbiased as I possibly can. But I'm going to go ahead and admit right now I am really big on the King of Fighters games. Now, with that said...
That's not unbiased. That's straight up.
No. I'm going to also try to be like very open-minded at the same time. Like, I'm not gonna give you, just because I think this is a good game that, da-da-da-da-da-da. Alright, so, anyway, what was the question? What do I think is wrong with the game?
That game that people just don't want to play it.
Okay, well, I think it's personally, I think it's actually the sum of the sum of the problems. Like, it has several problems, and you add it all together, and I think that's what creates this problem for King of Fighters 12. Like, one of the issues with King of Fighters as a series is that the United States isn't intimately familiar with the King of Fighters series. They may recognize some of the King of Fighters characters, like from Kyo, Terry, Joe, and things like that. Or they may have even remembered them from another game, but have forgotten about it, Fatal Fury and what have you.
Yeah.
Because those games, have been recognized before, back when the arcades were alive. But issue number one is that a lot of the people aren't quite familiar with the characters, whereas most people can pick out or will learn to welcome the Street Fighter characters.
Let's be real about this. KOF movie hasn't come out yet.
Right. I mean, when you look at the large cast of King of Fighters characters, well, before 12, there was too many for, the United States to sit there and poke around and find out which character they liked and what have you and understand anything about them. But I mean, like I said, the character thing is one thing. Secondly, for people that do recognize KOF at all, a lot of them are missing Mai Shiryanui, and it's not just Dougie Samich over here. It's actually a lot of the King of Fighters fans who are wanting Mai back.
Yes.
And that is apparently a problem.
I think we're done. I think this conversation is done. Right. I mean, I just forgot that Mai, who is like the showgirl for King of Fighters, is not.
Right. Everyone is, going by the no Mai, no buy,
what?
No Mai, no buy.
That shit? What?
I mean, more or less. So, there's that.
I know. Our friend Marty, he was definitely straight on that game when Mai wasn't in it.
Right.
So,
and the way I understand it is, I don't know if it's true or not, but I remember reading somewhere that the reason why Mai's not in it is because of the ESRB rating, where back then it wasn't an issue when King of Fighters was labeled as T for teen, because I mean, that game was too pixelated anyway to see her cleavage or anything like that. So I mean, it's not like kids were going to be able to tell. But then now that, things got, blown up to HD and, and everything's a little bit more clear and clarified for animations and what have you.
Man, kids gonna be, learning about the birds and the bees kinda quick, man.
Well, I mean,
especially if they had Mai in King of Fighters.
Well, apparently the ESRB made enough noise to make SNK not put Mai in it. And I don't see why they just couldn't do what Mature did. Well, yes I do, I understand, because if Mai was to get a change of an outfit, people probably wouldn't welcome that either. But
I honestly think they would. The idea of having a character in there that they enjoy is, that would be fine. Chun-Li had, her different outfits every once in a while. They went back to, the original, and,
that is a very good point. She did have a very refreshing outfit, IMO, in the Alpha series.
But they did change her back.
Yeah. I wouldn't have griped about Mai having a new outfit as long as she didn't turn to Alternate and have a new one every year.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, like, I don't think it would have a problem. I think, like, that's the idea of just not having your showgirl in there.
Right.
You just decided, oh, well, you know, we're just not the character in it.
What?
I was going to say another thing you got to realize about that, though, is she wasn't in the arcade version of 11.
She wasn't in the arcade version of 11, and I don't know why she wasn't in the arcade version of 11. I have no idea what the explanation is for that, but for this, it's the ESRB rating. Well, supposedly it's the ESRB rating. So.
Yeah, I understand that much. I'm pretty certain that's what they wanted to reach towards a certain type of person.
Right. I guess it's the bounce physics, like her chest. I guess they just frame by frame I don't know. Oh.
They destroyed them titties, man. Like, those things are gonna be extra clean.
Right. I do know.
Have that.
Another problem is that people. I'm not saying no one in the U.S. plays KOF. There are people out there. There are fans. There's a small number that plays. There's people that recognize the characters and whatever. Like outside the fighting game community, of course. I'm talking about like just typical gamers. There are people that know about KOF. Here's the thing, that they've been exposed to it before, so they've been exposed to other characters. K-Dash is one of them. He's gotten quite popular. There's other characters, and they don't even the Orochi, Yashiro, Chris, and Shermie. There's other characters that exist. And with King of Fighters 12 out, with the roster looking very similar to the KOF 94 version, with the exception of the Tales of Ash characters and Raiden and Iori. There's the fact that it's like, oh my god, my character's not here. Where's K-Dash and things of that sort. But I mean, but outside of Mai, of course. It's like, where's K-Dash? Characters like that.
I think everybody was a bit more sad about Mai than any other character.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't think that's a big deal. Like, even girls probably wanted Mai in that game.
Right. Any girls who are fans of KOF, they need that female representative, and Mai was probably that. Well, I mean, Athena is supposed to be the KOF poster board, but Mai is apparently the one people look at instead of Athena, and I can understand why. It's very obvious.
Okay. As long as you say it. I mean, like, as long as you say, yeah, I understand why. Because, I mean, you can't say, oh, I'm looking at Athena, and I think Athena's just much more attractive than Mai. I mean, what? Like, it makes no sense at all. Well, okay, you already said it, so that's good.
Right. And then there's the issue with the moveset. Now, this one is more or less directed inside of the fighting game community. I hear a lot of people having issues with, not having their favorite moves, or the move list is too short in comparison to the other King of Fighters games. A lot of them still have, plenty of moves. I mean, but back in the other older KOFs, they had, plenty of moves.
Yeah.
Like, they had a lot of moves in the older ones. And then a lot of them aren't liking the idea of a shorter move list.
Sense.
And that's another thing I keep hearing about KOF 12. And then there's a thing with the replayability. Like, I remember reading on CyberFinetics the interviews for KOF 12. They said specifically they were focusing entirely on combat. Entirely, which is why there isn't any story, which is why it's a dream match. Which is why I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna correct myself. Which is why they focused on online play, although the online was horrible. Now, I remember a PS3 version of the online netcode being patched, but apparently the online play wasn't, was unplayable. KOF 12. Now, what I mean is, why they focus on online play, I mean it's like the features that they had for online play. I think they were exclusive per console. I don't go online because I'm broke and stuff. But, but I think that, one of them had like this really unique online mode where you can team up with 2 other people, so there would be a total of 3 of you, and each of